This is freed from our chains first online Narcotics Anonymous meeting. We're doing this online because this was our first meeting tonight, and due to what would you call it?
Lack of location.
Yes, due to lack of location, I don't believe anybody was able to find where we were, or does anybody want to go to anybody's residence for an NA meeting. So we decided to go online tonight and do it. Everybody in this video has agreed to be in the video. If they haven't agreed to be in the video, then they've agreed for their voice to be in the video. Otherwise, they're not in the video. So let's get to it. My name is Danielle Stevens, and I am an addict.
Bless you.
Welcome to Freed from Our Chains group of Narcotics Anonymous. I would like to open with a moment of silence for the addict who still suffers, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, just for today.
Amen.
We would like to welcome everyone to our very first meeting. This location isn't permanent. We hope to be in the McDaniels area, hopefully either at the fire department or Liberation Church by the middle of March, end of March, somewhere along there. Until then, we will still have the meetings every week. If nobody shows up, we'll still be here waiting. And if nobody shows up, we'll go ahead with the online meetings, so you can come here and join us. Of course, if there are people here, we won't be filming due to privacy, but otherwise, we'll be here, and I may also go ahead and do a day for a weekly online meeting for those of you who can't get here. Know that with an online meeting, I'm not able to sign your papers, and it would not count towards a probation or if you have to get them signed for a doctor's office or what have you. But let's get to it. Is this anyone's first NA meeting? Say it's mine. Yeah, it's yours. If so, we are proud of you. Start working the steps. This is a safe place, no judgment. You have any questions, need a sponsor, need someone to talk to, just leave a comment. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Give me a thumbs up, okay? Is there anyone here in the first 30 days of recovery? If so, we are proud of you again, and keep up the good work and keep working the steps. It works. If you work it, it's worth it. Okay, so I'm not even going to ask that. That's kind of crazy. Do we have anyone here from out of town? We would ask that during a normal meeting. To see if we have any addicts here from out of town that has maybe, a long time of clean time. Okay, so here we go. This is an open NA meeting, which means that addicts and non-addicts are welcome. We'd like to welcome any non-addict visitors as well as recovering addicts or addicts. We thank you for your interest in Narcotics Anonymous. We ask that you respect the primary purpose of this meeting, which is to provide a safe, private place where addicts can share their recovery. For the protection of our group and this facility, this would be at a normal meeting. We would ask there be no drugs or paraphernalia on your person or property. If you have any now, please leave and dispose of them in return as soon as possible. We want everybody here, but we can't put the people that are here at risk if somebody has things on them or in their car. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it can't happen. We haven't ordered our clean time chips yet, but we'd still like to recognize those with clean time. March the 4th makes 5 years of clean time for me, that I have been off heavy medication. And August made a year for me that I had been off recovery medication.
I'm Chris and I'm an addict. I've been clean for
Since September 13th, 2013. I mean, not 2013, but 2009.
yeah,
So,
2009.
that's quite a while. 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, that's 10 years. So,
Yes, where's my chip?
we'll make sure to order
That ought to
you.
be a gold one, wouldn't it?
I think it's
Solid
bronze. I'm thinking it's bronze. I'm not sure. We'll look that up and see though.
I need a gold one, man.
Okay. Who would like to read what is the NA program?
Hi, I'm Chris and I'm an addict.
Hello, Christopher.
What is Narcotics Anonymous program? The Narcotics Anonymous program. NA is a non-profit fellowship or society of men and women for whom drugs had become a major problem. We are recovering addicts who meet regularly to help each other stay clean. This is a program of complete abstinence from all drugs. There is only one requirement for membership: the desire to stop using. We suggest that you keep an open mind and give yourself a break. Our program is a set of principles written so simply that we can follow them in our daily lives. The most important thing about them is that they work. There is no strings attached to NA. We are not affiliated with any other organizations. We have no initiation fees or dues, no pledges to sign, no promises, political, religious, or law enforcement groups, and are under no surveillance at any time. Anyone may join us regardless of age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, or lack of religion. We are not interested in what or how much you used, or who your connections were, what you have done in the past, how much or how little you have, but only in what you want to do about your problems and how we can help. The newcomer is the most important person at any meeting because we can only keep what we have by giving it away. We have learned from our group experience that those who keep coming to our meetings regularly stay clean.
Thank you, Christopher.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So I guess this is time for me to start my speech. Okay, so I've been nervous about this all day, just so y'all know. So if I mumble a little bit or get a little stuck, it's because I'm nervous. So I used to be really good. Like when I was younger, I used to be really good at public speaking. Like I won public speaking awards and everything. You hear this airplane? Helicopter, I mean. It's crazy. Is it Medflight? Okay, so basically I did not write out a speech. I put bullet points that I'm going to talk about. So again, if I stutter or ramble, if I'm like rambling on one subject too long, please let me know. Okay, my name is Danielle and I'm an addict. I will be clean from IV drugs for 5 years on March the 4th, 2019. Yay! And I will be clean I was clean for a year on August. 2018. So it's been about a year and a half, I guess, almost. Not August 2018. What am I talking about? That's when he was born.
You confused?
Yeah, it was a year. It was a year. So, because 2017 was when I quit. So, 2018. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking it was August 2019 was what I was thinking. Sorry about that. Anyway, here we go. If y'all are wondering who I'm talking to, I've got my gorgeous old man over here. He's a lot older than I am, so I can bug him about his age. It's fine, but here we go. I was never really into the drug scene when I was younger. In fact, I didn't start doing drugs until I was 24 years old. I had a very rough childhood. From the age of 6 until I was 10, I was molested by a family member. On my mom's side. I was also molested by other family members on my mom's side that I'm not going to mention. I was raped when I was 12. And growing up, I was always a daddy's girl. My dad actually got custody of me when I was 3 years old. And I lived with him until I guess I didn't anymore. But when I was actually sexually assaulted on the school bus my freshman year. Due to that, I didn't feel comfortable going back to the school I was going to, so I moved in with my mom my freshman year. If I'm not mistaken, it was right at the end of the school year. I'm thinking around, I'm nervous. I'm thinking around March. So I moved in with my mom then. Around that time, my dad met a woman off the internet in Michigan. Long story short, she moved down here. They moved in together. She is a drama. I don't even want to say queen. I want to say it's something higher. I mean, she's not happy unless she's causing trouble or drama. She doesn't like it because I stand up for myself and don't let her talk down to me. I've been told that my dad feels like he is stuck. Like he brought her down here, she sold her house and everything and came down here, so now he can't leave her. But you know, all that aside, basically, there for a long time I blamed her. I was like, you know, she keeps my dad away from me, and this and that. But he's a grown man, you know, and if he wanted to see me, he could. But because of her, I don't have a relationship with my father and haven't since I was 14 years old. I actually tried committing suicide when I was 16 over my father. Luckily, I was not successful, yeah. I actually was supposed to start seeing a counselor at that time, and I feel like maybe if I had woo, yeah, they would have found out. Could you get my charger? They would have found out that I was bipolar and maybe could have diagnosed me early, and I could have started on medication, avoided a lot of the things that I went through. When I was 13, I started dating a boy who became very possessive, violent. He made me sex with him when I didn't want to. He would hurt me physically. He controlled every aspect of my life. I was absolutely miserable, and my nerves were so bad all the time that I literally was a skeleton. Like, I just looked absolutely terrible. So my mom found out what was going on, and she basically put a stop to it. You know, we still tried to see each other there for a while, but, okay, what's going on? I'm sorry, guys, just a second. I have to plug up my phone, this stupid thing. Huh? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, long story short, we had to split up. I thought my world was over. I thought I loved him. You know, he had took my virginity, so I thought he was the one. But, yeah, you know, that's that teenage love. Anyway, I actually started dating my best friend. We got married when we were 17 years old. Really, really young. Really young. I think I more or less got married to get out of my mom's house. I didn't want to be there anymore. I just didn't want to be there. So, I think that's one of the reasons I got married. And, you know, of course, I thought I loved him. And, it was funny because, you know, I was sure I was ready to get married. And I think I was caught up in all the hype of having a wedding and getting dressed up and all that stuff. And then the day after the wedding, I'm like, oh, crap, what did I do? Like, some real crap. And it's like he done a 180 once we got married. You know, when we dated, he never touched me, he never hurt me, he was respectful, he was a gentleman. And then as soon as we got married, like, he beat the crap out of me constantly. But, in 2006, I got pregnant with my daughter. Her father and I actually got along pretty great when I was pregnant. Up until I had her March the 17th, 2007. And up until she was almost a year old, we got along good. And then things just started going downhill again. And then one day he had kicked a baby white box and it almost hit her, and that's when I called that quits and made him leave. It was during this divorce that I really that I started using, like, really using. And most of the time I was doing Lord Habs, you know, low dollar pain pills. That quickly escalated. I think everything just started pouring on me at once. Like, I was constantly thinking about all of the things that had happened to me growing up, this divorce I was going through, and then I was with a guy. Like, I think I had at that time I had this fear. Like, I mean, I think it was more than a fear. I think it was like a phobia of being by myself. So anytime I got out of one relationship, it was straight into another one. So I started seeing a guy who was on some pretty potent pain pills called Oxycontin. I was doing at least 5 80 milligram Oxycontin a day just to stay afloat, not be sick. Then I went from snorting them to injecting them. You know, I actually can remember the first pill I ever snorted, and that was a Xanax, and I done it just to, like, fit in with my friends.
I think a lot of kids do that.
Yeah. And then it went to Lord Habs, and then, you know, the Oxys, and then if you'll notice there's a pattern, and that's the way it usually happens. You start on these low pain pills, and it's always going to escalate higher and higher and higher, because once those pain pills, I mean, you can do 20 of them and just not get what you need off of it anymore. So, I went to the higher ones, and once I couldn't get what I needed off those, you know, I started using it IV. One of my friends showed me how to do it, and I thought it was incredible. I absolutely loved it, to be honest. And then you get an addiction to the needle. Like, it's like you have two addictions. You have your addiction to the pills, and you have your addiction to the needle. And I can't really explain that. Like, I was never one of them people that would just put water in a needle or something just to do it. But I'm not ashamed of my past.
I'm not saying that you are.
But I loved doing it, and I would hold pills in my pocket all day and not do them. didn't have a needle. Even though I was sick, I still wouldn't do them. Okay, so this guy that I was seeing, I was constantly buying him pills, and I probably spent a good $60,000 on him in a year. Between us doing drugs and stuff. I finally decided that because he still wanted to be with his ex-wife, and I got tired of feeling like I was being used. So I met a guy named, I'm going to call him John. I met a guy named John. And I moved in with him the day I met him. That's so crazy. That is absolutely crazy, but I did. The day I met him, I moved in with him. And things went, oh God, things go south. Like, at first, I thought it wasn't going to be so bad because he worked and stuff, and he wasn't on anything. He had just got out of jail, so he couldn't do anything because of probation. And then I actually got clean for 2 months. And then I remember he brought a morphine in the house and was like, I just want to see how you act when you're high. Just get high on me one time. And that's all it took was that one time. And everything went south, lost everything I had. I was hardly ever around for my daughter. I was such a bad mom. Such a bad mom. But I do commend myself for not having her around that. Instead of having her around it, she might not have seen me, but she was not around stuff she shouldn't have been around. So, but I wasn't a good mom at all. And I can admit to that now. There was a time I denied. I'm a good mom, I'm a good mom, I'm a good mom. No, I wasn't. I was a shitty mother. So, 4 months after I got with John, the whole time we were together, I heard that he couldn't have kids. Well, guess what? 4 months later, I found out I was pregnant. And 5 months after that, John went back to jail. There I was, 6 months pregnant, homeless, no family. I didn't talk to none of my family. I had already burnt every one of those bridges. So I had everybody telling me to get an abortion. My daughter's father was offering to pay for it. But I felt like, I couldn't kill my baby. I don't know. It was against everything I believed in, and it was my responsibility, and I was going to do what I had to do to take care of my baby. So I met Nick, and he had an awesome job, and he had a place to live, and so I did what I had to do, and I got with Nick to give my baby a place to live. And so he actually went to jail, but I did go live with his mom, and that's where I got clean. So I was clean and pregnant and doing great, because I couldn't get nothing. I went somewhere where I knew I could not get anything, because I did not want to hurt my baby. That was just something I couldn't live with. So, yeah, when I was 6 months pregnant, I'm not gonna lie, I did do drugs up until I was 6 months pregnant. But when I was 6 months pregnant, I quit everything, cold turkey, and I done really good. And then,
Did you know you was pregnant?
no, not for, I didn't know I was pregnant until, I don't know, I think I was like 5 months pregnant when I found out I was pregnant. But, anyway, so he gets out of jail. Well, I have the baby first. I'm driving 16-hour days, taking him back and forth to work, to jail, work, jail, and this is a 3-hour drive both ways. And I actually get so exhausted, I go into preterm labor. I start passing out because my body's just trying to make me sleep because I'm not sleeping. I can actually remember a nurse crying at one time because I was basically living in a truck. I mean, that's what I was basically doing. But don't get me wrong, I had a place to live, but I was driving so much. That's where I was. 23 hours a day. So I actually ended up going into labor while we were in Tennessee, and I was sleeping in the truck while he was working. I sat in the truck for 3 hours while I was in labor, and then finally I got an ambulance called, and by the time I got to the hospital, I was dilated to 7, and 45 minutes later my son was born at 6 pounds and 9 ounces, perfectly healthy, beautiful little boy. So yeah, after that, I went back to his mom's, and then I think it wasn't much longer that he got out of jail, and this is when I got on methadone. Everybody was telling me how great methadone was. You could do methadone instead of abusing drugs, and until you were ready to come down off of it, it didn't hurt you. I mean, everybody was saying it was so great. So I thought, well, rather than start using again because I have this baby, that's what I'm going to do. I can't hurry. I'm trying, but I'm trying to tell them.
Get it all out.
So I started going to the methadone clinic, and that's when I hit rock bottom. I started shooting up the methadone. I was doing over 300 milligrams of methadone a day, sometimes with nerve pills, which is very, very dangerous combination if you don't know. I'm lucky I'm still here, but I've done this for 2 years. 2? Yeah, good 2. No. I'll take that back. 3 years. And I remember November 30th, my daughter told me, she said, Mom, you don't never play with me anymore. Sorry. You are always asleep. The woman doing his pictures to see tomorrow. You were always asleep, and it was because of the methadone. So, I went straight to rehab. I guess a lot kind of clicked. And I just realized what a terrible mother I had been. Methadone had made me that way. So, I went straight into rehab. Oh my gosh, stupid thing. And I stayed there for 30 days and got clean. It was the worst pain I've ever been through in my life, having hallucinations. I was diagnosed there with bipolar, severe anxiety, severe depression. No, I'm sorry, manic depressive. And bipolar 2. And panic disorder.
PTSD.
And PTSD, sorry. I always forget that one. It's basically when you have flashbacks of bad things that have happened to you. So, they put me on some medication for my head, to get my head right. And before I actually went into rehab to get clean, I committed a misdemeanor that I ended up doing some jail time over. So after I got out of rehab, I had to actually go to jail for 2 weeks. So I went to jail for 2 weeks, and then I came home, and this was in February. And then on March the 3rd, 2014, I was sexually assaulted and physically assaulted for 12 hours in front of my 3-year-old son. I'm not going to go into details about it. We'll just leave it at that. Due to my mental stability and also his, my son was put in foster care. and I went into a battered women's shelter. And a month later, I met. Well, actually, I started going to NA meetings, parenting classes, taking drug tests, doing what I had to do to get my child back. I was seeing a counselor once a week. My head was pretty messed up. I was waking up screaming from nightmares every night. I actually did get to the point to where, I didn't have my son. My daughter had her dad, so I thought my kids were better off without me. My dad actually told me that I was a shitty mother and my kids were better off without me. So, yeah. But, anyway, on April the 6th, I met my husband at an NA meeting. We met at an NA meeting, and I could not stand him. I just did not care for him that much at all. Because of some circumstances, not just because I was judging him. It was because of some circumstances. But anyway, we ended up going out, and we've been together ever since. But we actually moved in together in June of that year. June. And we were awesome for a year, a good year. We had, we done pretty well, didn't we? And then he got laid off from his job, and things kind of dwindled down from there. And he was drinking pretty bad, and I was, doing drugs. I wasn't shooting up, but I was still doing, drugs, and we lost everything we had because he got laid off, and I think that took a toll on both of us. And we pretty much hit rock bottom together. We were actually living beside of a river in a tent. And then we went to live with his dad. I absolutely loved living with his dad. I got to cook for him and stuff all the time, and he would tell me stories, and I loved it. But after we went to live with his dad, he got another job, a great job actually, and we were able to get out on our own. And where we moved, our landlord was actually a preacher. Him and his wife are great people. We'll call them Rusty and Janet. But they were good people, and I don't think they would mind me saying their name. I don't know. I probably need to ask them first. But we'll call them Rusty and Janet, because it is illegal to, talk about somebody, username, whatever. Anyway, we started going. They had a little church in the front of a little bitty. That trailer was tiny.
Well, like a camper.
It was probably like 10 by 10, a 10 by 10 room.
No, it's a little bigger than that.
10 by 20.
Like a medium-sized camper.
It was long enough for a pew and a walk space, and that's no joke. We had 4 pews against this wall, and then you had
school bus seats.
a walk. Oh yeah, there were school bus seats, and then you had a walk space, and that's all. That's all it was big enough for. And in front they had a podium for the preacher. But it was amazing. I loved that little church. We would get up there and we'd sing and praise God, and we just had a good old time. And sometimes there wasn't maybe 2 or 3 people there, but we still rocked that little church. And I loved to sing. That was actually the first place I actually got up and sung. But I think that's where we found God together. But we were living in sin, so we actually, which we had planned on getting married anyway. But we moved the date up, and we got married on November 1st, 2015. By one of our pastor's good friends. Him and his wife, they were amazing people too. They should come and sit with us and talk to us for a couple hours before we got married, and they told us that out of everybody they had married, they thought that we would last out of all those people. So, but So we got married, and then we got saved, and then we got baptized together in the river in Blackford River on November in Clinch River in Blackford, Virginia, on November 22nd. And I'm gonna tell you, it was so cold. Like when you went under, you didn't feel the cold. It hit you gradually. I feel like, right? And like you couldn't talk. You were like like that.
Warm feeling inside.
Yeah, it's like you were warm inside because we're filled with the Holy Spirit. But oh man, you were cold. And everybody's like, how you feel? How you feel? And you're like, because you can't talk. But we did really great. We actually started a tree trimming business. We made great money doing that. And then what happened? You got laid off again. And yeah, he got hurt pretty bad. He hurt his back was already hurt, but it hurt it even worse. But then we ended up moving to Castlewood. And well, we actually moved to it was Castlewood after that. After we moved to Castlewood, after a couple of weeks, we started talking to my husband. Actually raised a little boy and a little girl he has a 12-year-old daughter, and it was by her mother. She was pregnant when they got together, and he raised that little girl plus a little boy she already had for 7 years, and they had a daughter together. She is getting ready to turn 13. Wow. She looks like she's 10 though. She's a tiny little thing. But that's a whole nother story that we may talk about one day, but not right now. It's not my story to tell. So this little girl, we'll call her Brandy. Well, I need to tell a little bit of it because it leads up to an important part of my story. Anyway, Brandy actually ended up coming to live with us and told us some pretty bad things about her mom. We'll call her Mom Tammy. And in good conscience, we couldn't let Brandy go back. So my husband actually went and got sole custody of her. But Brandy was playing me and my husband against each other, manipulating us on top of the trouble that we already had. And we ended up splitting up, and I went to Pound to live with my mom. And I don't know. I think I went crazy for a while, to be honest. I was on nerve pills, and they literally drove me crazy. Don't get me wrong, I was prescribed them, but they messed with my head. Like, I don't know what they done to my head, but really they did bad. And then I actually ended up getting with a guy that I had dated when I was younger, who had 5 kids, and I fell in love with his kids. And I don't know, I think I felt bad for them, and I felt bad that they didn't have a mom, basically. But it was just, I don't know, I went crazy. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't care who I hurt. I didn't care what I done. I was just, I think once I quit doing the nerve pills, once I made the doctor take me off of them, it helped me a lot, but I still feel like my brain doesn't work like it used to. Like, I can't think like I used to. Anyway, we ended up moving back to a little town in Virginia, but everything got so out of control with Brandy. Tell me what does it look? I actually found out I was pregnant right before Christmas. No, it was after Christmas because I got pregnant on Christmas. I found that I was pregnant in January of 2018, and which was a big surprise because I did not think I'd have any more kids because I've had a lot of female problems. And they told us in 2015, if I wanted to have any more kids, I needed to get pregnant right away because if I didn't, it probably wouldn't happen. So for me to get pregnant, 3 years later, it was God really meant for it to be. But Brandy, she was telling a lot of lies, and she had even actually threatened the life of our unborn child. We had tried every kind of counseling in the world you could think: family counseling, individual, therapeutic. Just everything, and nothing was working. She was constantly threatening suicide, which we obviously always took seriously. And then, and so we ended up having to put her in a therapeutic foster home. After that, during the summer of 2018, we went to go to vacation with my grandfather's in Tennessee, and we ended up moving to Kentucky, where we are now. So, here, after a while, we were living with my aunt, and after a while, we went and stopped at a yard sale at a church. And we met the preacher there, and he invited us to come to the church. It was called Liberation. It's in McDaniels, Kentucky. But, we were always weary about going to a new church because we were judged because we were addicts. I can't think. I should have wrote this down so I didn't stutter and go on. But anyway, we started going to Liberation Church. They were wonderful people. They never judged us. My water broke with our little boy on September the 29th, the day after we lost my husband's father. A wonderful man, and he'll live in our hearts forever until we're with him in heaven. But and our son was born on the 30th. He was just perfect. He was tiny, but he was perfect, and he still is. He's 6 months old now. We're doing great. Like I said, I've been clean for over a year. My husband's been clean for quite a while. And, we're persevering, we're moving forward, we're trying not to look back, and, we actually, our first place, God, He's made so many miracles happen for us, like my husband finding work, when he did, because he just got through praying and begging God to help him find work, and, that day he did find work and we were able to move. We actually moved into it used to be an ice cream shop, but hey, we made it work. It was ours and we were proud of it. Gosh, you can tell I'm tired. Anyway, after our son was born, we found this place, and it's a 2-story apartment, but it's beautiful, and, we're just moving up and going with the flow, and God keeps blessing us, and of course the devil's coming at us, as hard as he can, but we're trying to make it work, and keep moving forward. But now I want to go over a little research. Now that you know everything about me, I want to go over a little research. I feel like this is probably one of the most boring videos anybody's ever going to watch on YouTube. But I want to go over a little research that I found on the internet, which I kind of already knew, but I wanted to research it. That way I had the facts. Addiction is... Honey, will you bring me a cigarette? And while you got the baby over there so I can smoke. Addiction is defined as a brain disorder characterized by compulsive engagement in rewarding stimuli despite adverse consequences. This is from Wikipedia. That's where I've got this definition. The National Institute on Drug Abuse now recognizes addiction as a chronic illness, saying that it is not curable but treatable with a combination of meetings, counseling, mental disorder diagnosis, and treatment, and sometimes even putting the individual on a treatment medication such as Suboxone. Even though it is described as a disease on Wikipedia by the ASAM, which is the American Society of Addiction Medicine, and by the NIDA, which is the National Institute on Drug Abuse, people still think addiction is not a disease because using is a choice and that addicts are just weak-minded, weak-willed people who don't want to stop using or take responsibility for their actions. Though using for the first time is initially our choice, usually we're doing it to forget or to not feel. Once you are officially addicted, once your brain and your body need those drugs every day, our choices are no longer our own. You're going to be criticized daily as an addict, but do not be ashamed. Embrace who you are. Be proud of how far you've came, regardless of how you are recovering, whether you are recovering because you are doing counseling, or you're going to groups, or you're working the 12 steps, or you're being treated for your mental illness and they've got you on the right combination, or you're on an addiction treatment medication, or all of the above. The fact is, and really this is the only thing that matters, you are recovering. That is all that matters. None of the other shit matters. I'm sorry for my language. God forgive me. Surround yourself with positive influences and a great support system, and be proud of who you are. Don't be ashamed to tell someone that you are an addict, because that has made you who you are today. Don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to go back and say, well, I wish I was, I'm glad I'm an addict because it's made me who I am today. No, we're not glad we're addicts. But it is a part of you, because it is a chronic illness that will have to be treated. It is not curable. It will have to be treated for the rest of our lives one way or another. So these weak-minded people who call us weak-minded need to be more educated, because you have 80 very educated doctors that studied on addiction for 4 years. 4 years to come up with this conclusion. And I believe they know a little bit more than, just original people who like to call addicts weak-minded and they just like the drugs, right? Yeah, we love having to get up every day and worry about how we're going to get something so our bodies don't feel like they're being hit with a sledgehammer. That's an awesome feeling. But anyway, don't even get me started on that subject. So we're going to go back to our schedule on our meeting. Would anybody else here like to tell us a little about themselves and their struggle?
Maybe next time.
Okay. So we would like to thank everyone for attending our meeting. We're excited to start this journey with you all. We are we would now pass around the love jar, which is for donations, which is practicing our 7th tradition. Every NA group ought to be fully self-supporting. declining outside contributions unless I can't remember exactly how they put it in the book, but it's unless we can't function without the contributions of outside help, basically. The money we collect pays for a permanent location, snacks, drink. See, if you guys would have come tonight, you'd have got your tummies full with cookies and chips and what's that stuff? Chex Mix and coffee and pop. I mean, we'd have filled your tummies full before you left. But next week.
Maybe I'll talk. I might not be on camera yet.
Drinks,
I'll talk
literature, and supplies. Our goal is the next thing we're going to be ordering will be our chips, but after that we will be trying to order enough NA books. The ones we have right now are pretty small. They're the one that the NA Society sent us, but they're really small, white little booklets, and we want to get the hardbacks, and we want to get enough for when people come, everyone will have their own, and also some that we could sell for people to take home. Could you hand me that sponsor paper right there? Right there. I wanna go over this really, really, really quick. If you need a sponsor, I'm just gonna give you a rundown. Let me know if you live around here. If you don't live around here, I don't think I could be your sponsor, but I could be a support system if you need it. Just comment below and let me know. And we will get in contact with each other, and I promise, if you comment below, I will get back to you. I mean, if 100 people comment, obviously it's going to take me a while to get to all of y'all, but I will, and that's a promise. Okay, I wanted to go over this really quick. It's what to expect and what not to expect from your sponsor, because some people have these big, huge expectations from a sponsor, like they're supposed to help you. You know, they're supposed to get clean for you, but they're not. That's between you and your higher power. They're just there as a shoulder to lean on. Okay, number one, they help with your 12 steps. They help you kind of understand what you're supposed to do in every step. Number two, they will remind you about your NA meetings. You know, they'll shoot you a text or whatever. Hey, you got an NA meeting, tomorrow. Are you going to be there? Number three, they are a familiar face. Number four, they give a safe place to vent and talk in confidence. You know, if you need to talk, obviously they're going to find somewhere safe and confidential to talk. And number six, they are someone to call if you are considering relapse. Obviously, we want you to call us immediately. And if we need to, we'll get together immediately. We want to prevent that at all costs. Number seven, they are there to be understanding if you do relapse and offer support of getting back on track. Number eight, they help you work on yourself. They've been there, done that, and they can give you pointers on what they done to help you do the same. And number nine, they're going to be stone cold honest with you. They're not going to sugarcoat it, sweethearts. So if you want me to be your sponsor, don't expect me to sugarcoat anything. If you're being an idiot, I'm going to tell you you're being an idiot. I mean, point blank. If you're not trying, I'm going to tell you you're not trying and that you're not ready. So these are the things that you do not need to expect from your sponsor. They're not your personal therapist, okay? Yeah, they can listen and give you advice, but they don't have that. Well, most of them, I'm actually getting ready to go back to college to get my counseling degree, but most of them are not professionals. They cannot give you professional opinions or professional help. They can only give you their opinions from their experience, which is usually, if you ask me, if they've been there, done that, that's the best opinion to get. And number two, they are not there to help you find a place to live. Number three, they're not there to help you find a job. And number four, they're not there to be your chauffeur. You gotta help yourself in some situations, and if a sponsor does all this for you, you're never gonna help yourself. Well, I mean, that's just how it is. Number 5, they're not there for you to borrow money off of. Number 6, they're not there to be your mother or father. Like if you're young and you have an older sponsor, they're not there to be a mother figure. They're there to be your sponsor, and that's it. Um, Number 7, they're not there to manage your life or your moods. They can't manage everything for you. You got to take responsibility and do things on your own. That's a big part of recovery. Because as addicts, honey, would you bring me my pop? It's over there in that bottle. I'd really appreciate it. Number 8, they are not there to be there 24 hours a day, every day on your every whim. They have lives too, you know. Number 9, they cannot call your doctors. Number 10, they are not your babysitter. They cannot watch your kids. Number 11, they are not there to give you medications. Number 11, they are not there. Number 12, they are not there to give you medical advice. They are not medical professionals. Most of them are not. But I say some of them may be, but most are not. And number 13, they are not there to give you legal advice. You know, they're not educated on that. They're not there to do that, period. Number 14, they are not there to call you and check on you. They are there for you to call them when you need them. And number 15, they are not perfect. A sponsor is also in recovery. By adding your problems as if they are their problems, it's going to cause them to relapse, if you understand what I'm saying. Please be just as sensitive to their recovery as your own. Once two people become closer, you may open up more and do more things for each other. However, they have a primary role, and it is completely unfair to put them on the spot by asking for things outside of their responsibilities. Also, remember that most people live on limited funds, and not everyone has unlimited minutes on their phones. If your sponsor has a limited phone plan, then please respect that and don't expect them to talk all day, every day. Call when you really need them, otherwise plan to meet for coffee if you need more time with them. Make plans, make a day that you meet. Because, in their recovery, they're going to have, oh man, I'm so sorry. I knocked over the trash can. They're going to, when you're in recovery, you've basically got your days planned out. Because if you don't, a lot of times you will relapse because you have to fill those times that you used with constructible things to do. Their days are usually planned out, so they can't just stop what they're doing and come to you unless, of course, it is an immediate emergency and you're thinking about relapsing, which is, of course, something we don't want to happen. Okay, what's wrong? Is he running a fever? The baby's teeth, and he's been a little warm today. Were you wanting to speak for a minute?
Maybe next time, honey.
I thought you said you did.
I said maybe next time.
And also with the Love Jar money, we do send contributions to the NA Service Committee and our local committee in Louisville and Bowling Green. The money that we don't need, say we have too much money that we're not using, if we have money we're not using, we send that on to the bigger NA committees. That way they can use the money how they see fit. Honey, your phone just went off. I think the preacher may be calling. I've got a message from him, but I haven't been able to answer it. But if you want to come on so we can close in prayer. My husband had to go in the living room with the baby. But we're now going to close in prayer. This is something we do at the end of every meeting. Because what is our second step? And that is to find our higher power, which is God as we understand Him to be. Okay, so let's hold hands. We're supposed to stand in a circle, but we've only got 2.5 people. Okay, and we're going to say the serenity prayer. God, Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I'm sorry. The wisdom to change the things I can. No. I'm so sorry. God.
Grant me
The serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. Keep coming back. It works. If you work it, it's worth it. Thank you guys. Love you. See you next week.